History was made in Alaska yesterday, but not the kind that many hoped for. The most anticlimactic meeting of heads of powerful state. That's the history that was made. Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin met face to face for the first time since 2019. Trump rolling out the red carpet for a leader who's been treated as a outcast, a pariah by the West for over 3 years. The stakes couldn't have been higher. End the Ukraine war or face severe economic consequences, secondary sanctions on your mates. That was the threat of Trump that was the threat by Trump to Russia. But after nearly 3 hours of talking at the US airbase in Anchorage, Alaska, both leaders walked away seemingly empty-handed. No ceasefire deal, no breakthrough, and meanwhile, Ukrainian cities remain under air raid alerts as the war in Eastern Europe rages on. That's the news. Now you can go home. There you go. See, I've made it much quicker. But here's the analysis you won't get anywhere else if you are interested. So stick around, grab your bottle of whatever, and let's get stuck in. Though I don't expect this to take more than 4 minutes. Because my theory is deals have been made, but not publicly declared. Not yet. Have a listen to Putin. Putin said his meeting with Trump was, quote, long overdue, and that he, quote, hoped the agreement that we've reached together will help us bring close that goal and will pave the path towards peace in Ukraine, end quote. What deal? There's no deal announced. So they did make a deal. That's my theory, and that's what these statements lean towards. Another quote, we expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench into the works, end quote. That's what Putin said. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings to conduct provocations to torpedo the nascent progress, end quote. Nascent meaning the budding progress. What progress? We don't know yet. It's not made public yet. Even if I do know, even if I were to know, I'm saying I couldn't actually make it public because then people will be like, yo, where's your intelligence coming from? That's a bit suspicious. We need to give Mahfouz a visit. No, you don't need to. I'm just a member of the public, okay? So I'll tell you when it's made public, any news. I'm not conjuring my theories out of thin air. That's what Putin said. It indicates, his words indicate, a deal or a set of deals was reached. But loads of people who are not in the analysis, not in the analysis space, will say, no deals were made. This was boring. We can move on. You can't move on. Deals have been made here. Vladimir Putin is a smooth political operator, for better or worse. I'm just giving you the facts. He's got a long career of being the Russian head of state. He has seen US presidents come and go, and he has restored Russia's great power status, at least great regional power status, that was not the case under previous Russian administrations. He knows how to sweet talk Trump. He knows how to get what he wants, within the remit, of course, of what Trump is willing to give. My assessment is Trump agreed not to sanction Russia or slap secondary sanctions on nations that sell Russia oil. Nations that buy Russian oil, like India or China. He agreed not to sanction them. Trump will continue to provide Ukraine with some weapons paid for by Western Europe. Putin will accept that. And in exchange for Russia not putting further sanctions on in exchange for America not putting further sanctions on Russia or secondary sanctions on Russia's allied states, economic or military allies, Russia will open up the southern oblasts, the newly acquired territory from Ukraine, to American companies to extract resources, and so American companies can make a profit. This is my theory, okay? It's not publicly confirmed yet, but this is, I think, the part of the deals that were made. Now, something Trump and his American companies would likely be drooling over is this idea that, the rich, mineral-rich southern oblast of Ukraine, we have a slice, we have free reign to set up mining operations there. Ooh, I can't say no to that. Now, this is my evidence-based analysis. It's not a biased take, it's analytical. I'm not saying that's good news or bad news, I'm just saying that's the news. Here's my forecast. Expect the next meeting to involve Western Europe, maybe even Ukraine. Trump will say, listen, Russia has won. Listen, guys, Russia's won. Not completely, but you still have 80% of your nation, but you're going to have to give up 20%, okay? I can't use my favorite word, tariffs, on him anymore. He's just too charismatic. Give up. Surrender the southern oblasts and rebuild your country. It's just the best way to go, okay? I'm the deal maker. I'm telling you, this is the best deal you're going to get. Now, that's the Trump way. Sorry about the Trump impression, those who don't like it. Now, why would Trump push for such a thing? You might be asking, why? What does he benefit? He's not a Russian stooge. America's not a Russia's puppet state. Why are they aligning with Russia? Here's why. Because it's geostrategically sound, not because he's blindly pro-Russian. It just makes the most sense looking at the reality on the ground and what America can extract from the situation. If Ukraine surrenders these southern oblasts and establishes peace, Ukraine, first of all, can economically prosper and move forward. They're not in a state of war. And America would support that reality, would support that decision, because then America can come in and support Russia by extracting the minerals. American businesses can come in and extract the minerals. They can make a nice tidy profit, and they don't have to worry about Ukraine and Russia fighting, so that they won't have to invest in contested territory. It will be peacetime territory they're investing in. America will even step in economically to help Ukraine get back on their feet. That's how they'll market it, and they'll find a way to middleman squeeze some money out of Ukraine as a result of that as well. Look at the Marshall Plan from World War II. They helped Western Europe, and it's not like that. They actually did help Western Europe, but then Western Europe ended up under America's umbrella. So Ukraine, they wouldn't have a problem helping Ukraine and finding a way to extract some value for America that way. The question is, will Zelensky accept this sobering assessment of his country's situation by America, or will Western Europe convince him to keep fighting? Interestingly, you see, the West has now split. America is asking for something, Western Europe is asking for something else. Because one bloc that Trump can't really offer anything new is Western Europe. Western Europe would love for Russia to continue to be tied up in the war in Ukraine, while Western Europe rebuilds their militaries, rearms for a future tussle with the Russian bear. If the Ukraine war ends, Russia can switch from a stable, attritional, wartime economy to a peacetime economy, far more stable, far more prosperous, which would likely grow much faster in civilian productivity, not just military output. Something Western Europe doesn't want. Western Europe doesn't want Russia to switch to a high growth peacetime economy. They want them to stay in an attritional war where occasional oil refineries and maybe even Moscow gets targeted by this drone or that drone. They're okay with that. They want that. This assessment I have made here aligns perfectly with what Putin has said. He said, quote, "We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works," end quote. As in, Putin is saying, we hope they don't mess it up. Western Europe definitely can mess this up if they want, because the risk is Western Europe may convince Ukraine to keep fighting and ignore Trump's advice, right? To the detriment of the Ukrainian people and, the Ukrainian people who are fighting towards an end goal that is nothing, right? The diddly squat is their end goal. There's no victory in sight. You're just fighting, to keep Russia occupied, right? Time will tell how things turn out. And if any quiet deals that Russia and America made are later revealed, you'll know I was right, and I will cover them on a future post as well. The meeting wasn't for nothing, is what I'm trying to say. It was a quiet carve up of Ukraine for after the war. Russia remains in the driving seat, and America remains poised to try and find an economic benefit for America. And Western Europe stressing, Zelensky stressing, biting their nails, because they're not sure that they can continue this fight. They're not sure that they can keep the fight going. For the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin, I'm Mahfouz, and I'll see you on the next one.